Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Analytics.
So this is now the GK College of Business of Arts and Technology Incorporated in Bonimento. Actually, this is my first time to be here. So I think this is the office. So, good morning. Hi.
Welcome
Thank you
to GK
for-
College.
Oh, God, this is
Thank you
your
for coming.
opportunity to interview, and you have to answer a lot of questions about Data Privacy Act. And thank you for. So I'm here in the office of Dr. Lansigan in Global Knowledge in Boni, Mandaluyong. This is my first time, as I've mentioned you earlier. So, sir,
Are you excited?
this is the moment. I'm excited in this vlog, guys, kasi this is my a significant vlog because I'm going to talk about data privacy for you guys, and I'm very happy and very thankful to Dr. Lansigan
My pleasure.
and to all my colleagues in the academy for contributing the questions. There are actually the person behind me. He is always visible in trainings, conferences, not only here in the Philippines, but in the other country as well. And he is the former Monitoring and Evaluation Officer of the National Privacy Commission. And of course, he is a certified hacker. Yes, it's true. It's a certified hacker and a data privacy officer of the National Privacy Commission, certified. And of course, he is the National President of the Philippine Society of Information Technology Educators, the biggest organization in the country. So no other than Dr. Lansigan! Hi, sir!
Thank you.
So, sir, ready na ba tayo sa ating kasi itong mga questions na to, pinaghirapan ko to i-collate.
Okay.
Okay, so, pero guys, for privacy reason, syempre, merong privacy notice to. Questions and statements are collected from the individuals concerned and consent was obtained through them. The views and opinion as well as the questions do not reflect of their organization they represent. Before we start our Q&A, this school all about?
Well, global knowledge, and now we are GK College, has been here for the past 16 years, and this is a pioneer organization when it comes to information security, cybersecurity trainings in the Philippines. A lot of big organizations have trained here for their cybersecurity requirements. And also GK College is an accredited testing center of various testing centers worldwide when it comes to cybersecurity. So this is a pioneer organization when it comes to cybersecurity.
So, sir, what brought you here in JK College?
What brought me here at GK College is that when I had my first training in information security, especially in digital forensic, when my former university applied for a job recognition in offering the first Bachelor of Science in Computer Science with specialization in digital forensic. We were the first in the Philippines and Southeast Asian region to offer such program. Right now, in terms of programs, GK College is offering BSIS with specialization in cybersecurity, BS Entrepreneurship, BS Fine Arts, and in the near future, we'll be offering more programs to cater to the national as well as the international market.
Napakaswerte naman ng GK College. Those who would like to subscribe my channel, just like and subscribe my channel and hit the notification.
Analytics.
Okay, the Analytics YouTube channel. I'm happy because you like it.
Of course, I like all the analytics blog.
Okay, so thank you so much. Okay guys, before we move on to our Q&A about data privacy, sir, can you please give us the brief introductory about this Data Privacy Act of 2012?
Well, the Data Privacy Act, for legal point of view, it's RA 10173, otherwise known as the Data Privacy Act of 2012. It is a law that protects the fundamental human rights to privacy of all the Filipino citizens. Processing personal information as well as sensitive personal information inside and outside of the country. It was published last 2012, and the commission was formed last 2016, and so on and so forth, that requires all organizations to appoint a data protection officer. So, with this purpose, the National Privacy Commission was formed, a legally mandated government agency to administer the Data Privacy Act of 2012. Well, in terms of the function of NPC, the National Privacy Commission regulates the law, administer the law, as well as NPC, the National Privacy Commission, is doing everything in terms of enforcement, monitoring, compliance, hear complaints and investigation, as well as issuances of advisory opinion. So, legally speaking, the law is here to protect our personal information as Filipino citizens. Currently, we have Chairman Raymond Liboro, and we have now two Deputy Privacy Commissioners, Attorney Dr. Ivy Patdu and Attorney Dino Aguirre.
Okay, so now let's move, sir. Can
Yes.
we move on to the Q&A? So let's start with our question number 1.
Go, go. Ninanay
Okay.
sa mga question.
So ano kayo mga, ano yung first question, sir?
Ako mo muna?
Yes, ikaw po muna, sir. Trip to... Okay, this is to Charleston. Okay. Oh, this question is coming from the industry. So this is from Jeffrey Isla, the Business Excellence Risk and Compliance Officer of Concentrix, handling Ayala North Exchange as Sparks Place, Cubao, Tierra Tower, Eastwood. So the questions are, so there are 5 questions here. How are call centers vulnerable to data breaches? That's the number 1 question.
Okay, call centers are vulnerable to data breaches. One is if the personal information of the clients being handled by the call center agents are not being taken care carefully in terms of the personal information they get and the personal information the clients divulge to these call center agents that is internal within the organization. Second, all the information being collected by, let's call them as business process outsourcing companies, might not be properly secured. Let's say, for example, I am the agent and you are the customer or the client of the BPO. I collect personal information from you.
Yes.
There is a potential vulnerabilities when it comes to the storage, the collection, use, storage,
So
as
how
well
do you
as
ensure that, sir?
as
So
well
the
as
company
transfer and destruction of the personal information. Well, the question is how do we ensure that the personal information are being protected?
Yes.
Well as the law requires, that needs to be complied under the law. And what's more important about the law itself is that the collection of personal information must be protected at all times. That's why at the National Privacy Commission, they have this motto that do not collect if you cannot protect. Because a lot of organizations are collecting a lot of personal information, and yet the next question is, how are these personal information being protected by the collectors of the personal information?
And how about, sir, there are another 4 questions left. So how secure is BOIP, the IBR, and the encryption? That's number 2 question. And the number 3 question is how safe is dual tone multi-frequency masking technologies work in BPO with regards to call recording?
Well, BOIP as well as I think the question mentioned also about encryption. When it comes to encryption, for those who are highly technical people in the information technology industry, they should follow the AES 256 encryption standard set forth by the National Privacy Commission. When it comes to BOIP and all the communication devices, communication links between 2 parties, it must be properly secured. Like, say for example, I transmit information from me to you.
Okay.
So, including our voice calls, it should be protected. In one way or the other, it could be hacked in terms of the transmission.
So they have to inject some techniques technologies,
Yeah.
just to protect the
Technologies.
call recording.
Yes, technologies must be embedded into the system in order for the transmission of my information to you should be properly protected.
So how the data privacy office will check about it?
Well, in terms of the National Privacy Commission, part of the monitoring process is what we call the technical security measures being implemented by the National Privacy Commission. In terms of the technical security measures, encryption must be embedded, and all the physical and technical, and as well as the organizational security measures must also be in place.
How about this, the masking technologies, the what we call the dual tone multi-frequency masking
Okay, when
technologies?
when we say about the dual tone masking technology, the sound waves no, of the one using the telephone has a corresponding sounds. For example, one, if you will notice our dial-ups,
Yes.
it produces different sounds. If you
Yes.
press one,
One.
press two, three, four, five, and so on up to zero. So it transmits data from one source to another source. So how are these being protected in terms of the communication? All these dual tone devices must also be properly encrypted.
Okay.
Technically speaking, when we talk about data privacy, encryption is very necessary because at any rate, when your data has been compromised, data should be properly encrypted. Let's say, for example, I have your phone.
Yes.
I accidentally have your phone. So if your phone is not encrypted, I will automatically be, I can automatically open all the personal details in your telephone or even your laptop.
So how they can improve their call center security aside from these technologies that they're going to implement?
Well, as a matter of compliance, awareness is a very important factor. Having all your people be aware of what the Data Privacy Act, its implications, as well as the potential penalties listed under the Data Privacy Act must be properly in place. Because please take note that this law is a criminal liability. When we talk about criminal liability, that means if you are a violator of the Data Privacy Act, you could be imprisoned and fined millions of pesos.
But the last question is about this payment card industry PCI compliance.
The payment card industry of PCI compliance, this is technically all the credit cards, debit cards that we are using nowadays. There's a lot of potential breach that might happen using these cards, no, the card industry. One is through phishing, hacking, as well as other forms of breaches that goes with the use of the card. The problem is in the Philippines, if the card industry has been hacked today, tomorrow there'll be another forms of technical hacking that might be developed by our unscrupulous hackers. So it's a long way process in terms of catching up. Just like any virus, there's a virus today, tomorrow there will be another virus that will be developed.
I'm thinking of the person who reproduced or responsible to generate this particular card.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of that person integrity. So
Correct,
I think
correct.
that's an internal what we call this arrangement
Correct.
or requirement of the industry itself.
Correct. Correct.
So that's a big challenge for the call center industry. Okay, so let's move on to our second question. Yes, dito na kami. Sa pangalawa pa lang kami. So there are 33 questions. My God. Okay, so this question is coming from Professor Arnold Galde of University of Perpetual Health Molino Campus. So the question is, what are the rules or provisions on acceptable consent because screenshot, emails, and signatures to letters can be fake nowadays and anyone can create dummy accounts?
Okay, per Data Privacy Act of 2012, when we say consent, it must be a recorded consent. It must be explicit, unambiguous. So in terms of the requirement of the law, when we say recorded, there should be a written or verbally recorded consent in terms of the consent. Let's say, for example, I give you consent in terms of the processing of this personal information. This video recording can serve as a consent itself. Or we may sign any document, we can sign any document that that I'm giving you the full consent or any consent for that matter in terms of the personal information that you will be getting from me. So
So
nowadays,
anything should have a consent.
yeah, especially if
So-
you are processing sensitive personal information.
So what forms are acceptable?
Forms are acceptable are written consent
Only written consent?
and verbally or voice recorded consent.
Okay, so how about the messenger?
The messenger is messenger, email, for
Yes.
as long as there is
There is
you
a
can-
consent.
Yeah.
Also, any form of consent
Okay.
is acceptable. Okay, so for our question number 3, dito na tayo sa question natin number 3. Exciting ba yung ating mga questions? Okay, so I'm starting to read these questions. This is from Dr. Don Iris Calibo Sinet from Siquijor State College.
Up to Siquijor?
Yes, up
Okay.
to Siquijor. Then the question is, how can we protect the data privacy rights of users and the implementation of free Wi-Fi internet access in public places?
Okay. There are two types of free Wi-Fi access in public places. One is being run by private organizations, like if you go to a mall, to a fast food chain, no? They offer free Wi-Fi access. And the other one is through the government Wi-Fi access from the Department of Information and Communications Technology. Well, I am for sure that before the DICT implemented this free Wi-Fi access, they have conducted their own privacy impact assessment to conform with the requirement of RA 10173, the Data Privacy Act of 2012. Well, for the private organizations that offer free Wi-Fi access, we should be very, very careful. Why? Because accessing this free Wi-Fi access in a private organization can give them full access also to the personal information from the gadget or from the cell phone
Yes.
or the laptop that
The
that we
personal
are using.
information of a person.
Correct. Be careful with that. So if I were to choose, if I will be using any free Wi-Fi access, I would rather not, because they might have access to my personal information, my personal equipment.
But many people are accessing the free Wi-Fi.
Correct.
Oh, so sir, you have mentioned this what we call conformity. What is this specific conformity requirement of a particular institution to give this free Wi-Fi access?
Yeah. If they were to follow what is written under Republic Act 10173, they must comply with the five pillars of requirement of compliance. Kung ako tatanungin, I would rather have it assess the privacy impact of those who will be using the free Wi-Fi access. Because having a privacy impact assessment will
So we
ensure.
don't have to wait for that, the privacy impact. Why don't we incorporate those the statement? Because I noticed that there are some websites that before you can view their website, they can have this privacy statement.
Yeah. They have privacy policy, privacy notice, privacy statement, and they even have their consent before you can access this website. But in terms of the free Wi-Fi access, definitely it will be a big no-no on my part, because as I have said, having a free Wi-Fi access that gives the organization that offers the free Wi-Fi access to your personal information and your personal gadget.
So, grabe. So, super intensive yung ating mga, ang answer ni Dr. Lansigan. So, I hope that you satisfy all the answers.
Would
So,
na
while
ako?
I'm picking on this, you are picking on the fifth question, I think. Oh, the fifth question is coming from Professor Lloyd Guerina of MIL teacher, SMCL, former IGC SE teacher from Arabian Pearl Court International School, Bahrain. So he has 3 questions. Do or did we have a benchmark in the implementation of data privacy law? That is the number 1 question. Number 2 is, how can we best cascade the data privacy law among young learners and their parents? And the last questions, what are the law's provisions in RA number 10175 that support or can be used in strengthening the implementation of the data privacy law Any?
Well, the first question, I don't think the Philippines is benchmarking with other countries in terms of what is written in RA 10173. But the Philippine law was lifted in the European law, which is the General Data Protection Regulation or GDPR. It was lifted from a European country. But in terms of benchmarking and implementation, there's no such thing because other countries do not have their five pillars of compliance. Other countries do not require a deep data protection officer. In other countries, they don't have this 32-point compliance checklist and so on and so forth. The second question is about the
Cascading of this data
data
privacy
privacy law
to our young learners and to the parents.
to ang young learners. As what I'm doing with my engagements, I conduct regular awareness from the to the institutions as well as the data subjects or the individuals, the parents, the student that they should be aware of what the Data Privacy Act is all about, so that they would know what specific rights will they be enjoying in terms of the law itself. Because we as individuals, we do have our rights, and later on I will mention all these rights.
So how do we strengthen that implementation?
Well, all organizations must comply, and the National Privacy Commission must see to it that all organizations at the minimum should have these basic requirements like a DPO, privacy notice, consent, and so on and
So
so
they
forth.
have the listing of this organization.
Yes, they have.
Okay. Even in the Bravo 11,
Yes,
they have this
Yeah.
listing. Okay. So that's our now question number 5.